All right, guys, we are now in the F.IF.2 Level 3, which is interpreting and evaluating function notation within a context. So we have, in problem number 1, there are 98 international units, or IUs, of vitamin D in 1 cup of milk. So this function v of c is equal to 98c represents the amount of V of C, which stands for the vitamin D. So that's essentially my Y value. Y is the amount of vitamin C in IUs that you get from C cups of milk. So that C is technically like your X in the equation. You have a 16-cup jug of milk. We want to evaluate and interpret what V of 16 means in context of the situation. So remember, what's in parentheses is technically your X value, which in this case we're not using X, we're using C. So I'm going to take that 16, I'm going to put it in for C in my equation. So I have a 98 times a 16, which gives me 1,568. So now we're going to interpret what that means. What this means is that if you drink, we put 16 in for C, 16 represented the number of cups of milk. So if you drink 16 cups of milk, you will get 1,568 international units, or IUs, of vitamin D. And that's it. That's your interpretation. Number 2. So, number 2, we have parts A, B, and C. It says you put a ham in the oven. After 45 minutes, you take it out. We're going to let F of t represent the temperature of the ham. So that's basically Y is the temperature of the ham. And T represents the minutes after you placed it in the oven. So T is technically like your X value in this situation. So we want to explain the meaning of each statement in the context of the situation. So F of 0, the 0 represents your X value, in this case T, and T stands for the minutes you placed it in the oven. So right now you have the ham in the oven for 0 minutes. And F of 0 equals 65. The 65 represents the Y value, or in this case the F of t value, which is the temperature of your ham. So right now you place the ham in the oven for 0 minutes, and the temperature of your ham is 65 degrees. So basically, before you place the ham in the oven, because they haven't placed the ham in the oven yet, the temperature of the ham is 65 degrees. Now, letter B says F of 5 is less than F of 10. Remember, what's in parentheses is technically your X value. So this represents F of 5 represents the temperature of your ham after it was placed in the oven for 5 minutes. And F of 10 represents the temperature of your ham after it was placed in the oven for 10 minutes. So basically what this is saying is that the temperature of the ham at 10 minutes in the oven is greater than the temperature of the ham at 5 minutes in the oven. Which makes sense, because the longer you have the ham in the oven, the higher the temperature of the ham is going to go. Now letter C says F of 40, which the 40 would represent that it's 40 minutes in the oven. So this F of 40 means the temperature of the ham after it's been in the oven for 40 minutes is equal to F of 45. So this time the ham is in the oven for 45 minutes. and F of 45 represents the temperature of the ham after it's been in the oven for 45 minutes. And those are equal. So this statement would be the temperature of the ham is the same after being in the oven for 40 minutes compared to 45 minutes. Which, if you know something about cooking, the longer that, you know, a ham is in the oven, the temperature starts to increase a lot slowly, or a lot more slow, the longer that it's in the oven. So at 40 minutes and 45 minutes, the temperature of the ham could possibly be the same, because when you get to these higher time frames, your temperature of your meat or your ham is going to start increasing a lot slower. All right, and then number 3, the cost to manufacture X pair of sunglasses can be represented by the function C of X. So the C of X represents the cost, and then it shouldn't say fill in the blanks, I think it's fixed on yours, but you're going to complete this statement or interpret what it means. This statement means. So the X represents the pair of sunglasses. So this 4 is your X value. That means that you have 4 pairs of, or they manufactured 4 pairs of sunglasses, and the $398 would be the cost. So they manufactured 4 pairs of sunglasses for $398. So those are pretty expensive sunglasses there. But that's what that would mean in terms of the situation. All right, and that brings us to the end of this lesson.